A very good evening to you, Thobela, Sanbonani, Dumelang. Thank you so much for joining us and thank you for your patience. We are starting late, of course, because we had some unforeseen technical difficulties. As you know, we're being load shed in different parts of the country. Unfortunately, it affected the internet at UKZN, where we are streaming from. So it's a miracle, actually, that we were able to log back on. I'm very grateful to that I have been given the responsibility of moderating this discussion. And I'm grateful that we actually can have a discussion in light of the fact that, it was touch and go, guys. Welcome to Artfluence, human rights festival created by the Center for Creative Arts. Of course, we know the Center for Creative Arts is celebrating its 25th anniversary. We're also celebrating the 25th anniversary of the adoption of the Constitution. The CCA, based at UKZN, does a number of incredible arts festivals, from Time of the Writer to Jomba to Poetry Africa. This is a brand new baby. It's a brand new creative COVID baby, born out of the desire to show that there is an intersection between the world of the creative arts, activism, politics, human rights, social justice. And I'm very lucky to be joined by three poets who embody that connection in their being, in their work, and in a topic that we will be discussing tonight. The theme for tonight is poetry at the marketplace. And this festival commissioned a very special project from these three incredible poets, invited them to go into informal trading communities and document the lives and the work of people who sell goods every day in order to survive, in order to feed families, in order to uplift and build their communities. So it's really, I think this discussion is about how can we make poetry more purposeful and accessible in light of the issues that we are facing in our society. We know that there's a huge informal market in our country. Many of the people in our society earn a living in this informal market. If we as artists believe in the fact that our work serves a social function, how do we speak to the issues that are happening around us? How do we amplify those issues? And how do we use those issues also to expand what is possible with our art form in this digital era, where the internet sometimes falls, apart, but it's still the digital era. We still have access to cell phones and resources and tools as artists, basic tools in the palm of our hands that are incredibly advanced and that allow us to be able to express ourselves in ways that wouldn't have been possible 10 years ago, 20 years ago. So joining me tonight, I'd like to welcome Chrsitie van Zyl, who is a poet and a sangoma. She is a health and indigenous wellness consultant. She is a social entrepreneur. I'd also like to welcome Luleka Mhlanzi, who is a poet and a youth facilitator. And I'd like to welcome Johnathan Lefenya, who's a Soweto-based spoken word artist, who's won a number of slam championships. All of these poets are prolific. All of them care very deeply about social justice. All of them are expansive in the ways that they think, in the ways that they use their voices. So I want to come to you now, turn over to each of you now to talk about this project. Of course, we're going to be sharing the videos that were created by the poets. You'll be able to experience what they made, which is wonderful. But first, I want you to kind of explain to me, what was this project all about? How did it come about? Let's start with you, Johnathan. How did the project come about, and what did the experience entail for you? How did you put it together?
So for me, the process of creating the project, I first started with trying to interview the ladies that occupied the space around Maponya Mall, only to realize that they couldn't be put on camera. They said that they are fearful of their faces being on camera. So I had to go to other people and try to ask them for an interview. Amongst those people, I met Godfrey. Godfrey owns a stand near Maponya as well. But what I loved about Godfrey was his enthusiasm. He's a dreamer. He believes that in time he will become a professional chef. He's already a mechanic. He's a sales consultant. He works on so many different projects by himself. And he believes that if ever he continues to push so hard, at some point he will be someone who owns his own business, someone who's registered, someone who is moneyed. And when we began talking about how it all started, he told me that when it started, he only had a pack of snacks and 6 bottles of Coke. That's the only thing that he had to start off
Wow.
his business. And then from there, he said he learned that with having what he has, the best thing that he can do for himself is to be patient. And so through that, he continued selling. And then the stock grew. He started on other stocks for other people. And now everyone around him has their own business, running their own business in their own small market. Currently, they're running about 3 stores in that market that he created from scratch.
That's incredible. So,
Yeah.
I mean, Chrsitie, you walk into a community, you walk into a market armed with a cell phone, and what? Like, how do you begin the process as a poet of negotiating with this person? Like, I want to document you. How did you approach that? Where did you do yours? Johnathan was at Maponya. Where were you?
You know, Lebo, I think I was lucky. I was at Cape Town taxi rank. And the first person that I approached, I bought this gorgeous hat from. And I asked him, do you mind if I interview you about the effect of informal trading on your life? And he wasn't comfortable. And so I had to move on. And then I started walking in between the stalls. They are like these white container stalls that are at Cape Town taxi rank. And in those stalls, obviously everybody's trying to make business. So this Congolese guy says to me, come sister, let me cut your hair. Huh? And then I go and I was like, okay, I will sit down and I will get my hair cut by this guy. And then I asked him, I was like, before I sit down, do you mind if I interview you about your social economic status, how it's affecting your life, what it means that you're an informal trader, what it means for your life, what it means for your family? And he said, absolutely. And I sat down, and while he was cutting my hair, I was able to talk to him. And he was very open and honest about everything. I mean, I think I had to cut down something like 25 minutes of footage from him, down to like 4.5 minutes of footage of him, because he was so raw and so honest and open about his experience. And he wasn't scared that, oh, this is a South African that might just jeopardize my income and my life, you know? And then following that, and every single vendor and trader that I spoke to, I had to commit to them for them to commit to me. So I need to be buying your services so that you can then commit to my cause as well. And then we moved on to a pair of young ladies. They're young, they're students, they're still in school. They have this brand called Cape Town Ikaslami. They're making 100% cotton t-shirts and hoodies. And this young lady was willing to sit down and explain to me, like, you know, the struggles that she goes through, the joys that she goes through, how she would advise other informal traders, and how she gets about her life as a young person trying to make a living that's unable to find a job. So she had to go out there and go out on a whim, and they spend the little money that they have, stipend, NSFAS, to be able to make product that they can sell to sustain themselves.
Sure.
So I think I was very lucky, but the one or two vendors that I also tried to speak to were very abrupt, you know. They were also, like Johnathan said, they were scared to have their faces on camera because they're foreign nationals. And for them, it equates to xenophobia, because they have brothers and sisters in other parts of this very Cape Town, not parts of broader South Africa, this very Cape Town, where their brothers and sisters were killed because of xenophobia. So, and he was also still trying to protect me. And I wasn't alone at that time when I approached him. He was trying to protect me from other vendors that were being opportunistic, that also try to rob people that come into the market. So it was an interesting experience, to say the least.
Yeah, I mean, and I love the fact that we've also covered 3 major, provinces in South Africa. Not to say that other provinces are minor, but I love the fact that we have an array of our nation being covered with this, and the issues kind of are similar in whether Johnathan is in Soweto, Christie's in Cape Town, Luleka, you are in KZN, which is the home, obviously, of the CCA and UKZN, but also a province that has experienced extraordinary hardship, in the last month, and certainly in the last year, and I mean, we've seen people's homes have been destroyed, businesses have been destroyed, and it was like just as KZN was kind of getting out of the aftermath of the riots, then boom, natural disaster, global warming, and you think about how this has affected families. And I mean, the most vulnerable people are even more vulnerable now, so what was the experience like for you? And I mean, were you, you're a young Black woman entering this space as an artist, you're vulnerable also, at any point were you afraid?
Yes, actually, Sis Lebo, I was, because I had many attempts before I chose the lady that is closer to where I stay. My experience started with me meeting with the guy that would help me shoot the whole thing. So I went and met with him, and so we had to agree on particular stuff, that this is how we would compensate each other. And yeah, so he's a brother, I've worked with him before. So the story started with me going to him, and then him telling me, which, okay, go look for the people that are selling on the streets. Tell me when you've found one, I will come through. But there was also an issue of safety with his equipment, because remember, we are talking about doing an actual interview in the streets. So the streets aren't the safest places you'll find. Especially in KZN. I'm not trying to badmouth KZN, but but yeah,
but it's real. This is South Africa. Yeah.
Yes, thank you. It's the reality. So when I went, it was quite a lonely ride, I won't lie, and it was scary, because I was also going for my African brothers, because I do feel like they do experience so much of being violated here in South Africa, and even the attacks they were brewing here in KZN, the xenophobic attacks they were brewing here in KZN, precisely in Pietermaritzburg, where I stay. Yes, yeah. So there were a recent couple of deaths. So when I approached the first one, I don't even remember his name, because we had a very brief conversation, and he was just not keen at all. He felt like I was just, I don't know. I think he probably thought I was a journalist or something, trying to get a story and his face on camera, or I was probably the government trying to get if he has an identity here in South Africa type of vibe. So that's what I got, because I do also have seen when they have their things that they sell, say it's maybe cell phone pouches, when the van from the municipality passes, they pack everything and then they try to run away. And so I was actually looking for those kind of vendors, and I couldn't find them because of my own anxiety, because I think I only asked for 2 in the CBD. And I did also, when I thought about this guy's equipment, the guy who was helping me shoot the whole thing. I was like, no, it can't work here. So I went to towards the rank. There's an old lady that sells when my mother and I have a lot of groceries. We keep them with her when we go buy from other shops, and then we come and buy whatever it is that she has as form of compensation, and then take the taxi home. So when I also interviewed her, she wasn't keen because she doesn't trust the government. So she felt like I was coming to take her story to the government type of vibe. So yes, there was a lot. And then I then decided that maybe let me go to my hood. Let me go to where I stay. First of all, as an artist or a writer rather, of about 17 years now, I've never done something locally from where I stay, because I stay at Imbali Unit J. So I had never done any activity, and I've done a lot of things for the province, for the city on a broader scale, but not locally. So this was an opportunity actually for me to actually do something closer to the shop that I buy bread every day. So opposite was this lady's cottage, the lady that sells the fat cooks, and yeah, so everything was safe equipment wise, because this is closer to home. So even the guys that are thieves and what, I know them, so they can't go out, run away that much with this guy's equipment. So that was safe, and this was actually me doing something closer to home, because that was like a wake-up call for me, which you've never done anything this side, girl. So, you're going out there, you are advocating for human rights, women's rights. What about home? So that was the experience for me, really.
I think everybody who's watching definitely wants to see and to experience the art that you created. And I just want to explain to the audience that apart from the fact that this work was put together just in a matter of days, the commission was approved, I think on Freedom Day or somewhere around there. And I mean, that was a week ago. So these incredible artists went out into the field, shot all of this themselves, curated the experiences that we are about to watch themselves, edited this themselves. This is their own original poetry. So, it shows what is possible with the art form, right now. And I think that this is incredibly exciting. Wesley, please, will you play the videos for us that Chrsitie and Johnathan and Luleka have created?
Ngahlanganisa upondo notiki ngenzisa okwadudayide. Ngagibela inqwela yomgwaqo ngizifakele izidwedwe zami kuMasigoduke. Ngizitshela ukuthi nizongiyeka nami njengaye nje ududayide. Kodwa ke ngisho nentela yami le inentela.
Gonna break up, you guys, it's better you to move, you guys.
Okay, Nake, Kamalango Diana. I also own one of these shops by Grand Central. Yeah. It's kind of challenging, but yeah, we're managing because the things they are right now, like since this COVID thing, it's like the business has been too low, So we are trying to make a living out of selling things like this. The thing is, in Grand Central, we do pay, we pay rent there. And they do also give you an opportunity to put your table outside, which you pay 300 a day to do that, because you'll be at the middle of the traffic. So I do advise others to do the same. It's good to do things the right way, being licensed to do that. We need to hustle hard for money. Yeah, because we also need money to pay for the fees, because I'm also a student right now, but I'm studying online with UNISA.
So how do you think that the South African government can improve your lives as traders?
perhaps they should try to, like the fuel charges are high. Everything is just going high, which means us also, we need to like increase the prices for the things that we are selling. So at least if they should just try to reduce the prices so that we can also try to sell at an affordable prices, then at least we can also try to make profit, because at the moment we're not making any profit because things are expensive. It's really peanuts, but we are trying to survive. At this moment, that's the point where we are right now, and we are trying to at least negotiate with our customers, because like when you come and you say this is too expensive, like try to make them see things from our own point, like okay, but you can see this t-shirt is good quality, 100% cotton, this and that, yeah. I would just advise them to keep on hustling, Things aren't easy out there, but we are trying, so just keep up the spirit, keep working hard.
Washo ukuthi njengomuntu webala ngiyohlala ngingahleli esihogweni, ngiyohlala ngithengisa estradweni, ngiyohlala ngingabalwa emfundweni, ngifunde okwangempela ukuthi nentela yami iphinde icindezelwe ngentela yayo nayo okwangempela kusekude empumelelweni.
My name is Stone Beyoko Belobota. And to send money home is difficult. So you have just to be survive here in South Africa. South Africa government is really, a greedy government. You don't support other foreigners from in Africa. If you're from overseas, if you are light skin like a white, you want to support 100%. If you are black, it's not easy. It's not easy to support. I have a ticket with the South African. Anytime I'm going to come, my face don't give me ID. Government can give them sasa money, what education. That sasa money is never gonna support. The way me I support them, that sasa money can support them. And marriage is something no playing with. You get him. I don't like marriage for me to get in documents. The best thing I'm doing, I support them. He stay to my house. He never work. It's me I'm working. It's me I'm looking money. He never look money. I support her. I support the kids. I'm a Congolese. I love to be Congolese. I love to die Congolese. I'm here in South Africa because of the responsibility I have. I don't have a choice. Like I make it already family and let me to continue to look after my family.
Singobani kanti thina esisakhalela ukubalwa nathi embusweni? Singobani kanti thina abasajaha impumelelo ngomoya womzabalazo ebesicabanga ukuthi wanqotshwa abazali bethu? Singobani kanti thina esisakhala ngokuthi sizokhungwa ngani? Ngisho nentela yami le inentela.
If the South African government won't give me paper, they must think about me, about the Dutch kids, not for me about the Dutch. Dutch kids is a citizen, the South African Dutch business cutting here by us, Congo.
Yes.
It's like it's not a job. We have many things, many talents we can do it. We can do it because of the documents. And if I was maybe my other country overseas, me someone like me, I can cry about the documents.
As a refugee.
Yes, I can cry.
You can cry.
I can cry about the documents. If I was other countries,
Europe, America,
even other countries here in Africa, I can cry for documents.
But not South Africa.
Not South Africa. South Africa always will cry about documents. This document is step us. How many years now? I'm 17 years in South Africa. I'm go up here in South Africa. I'm coming. I don't have even the beard. Now I have a beard. I'm a father. Black skin is not easy for us here in South Africa. You can see when the time he was making his xenophobia. By that means foreigner just black people. Only foreigner is a black guy. If you are black, you are foreigner. South Africa is a place. The government is a greedy.
Noma ngingadla ukudla kwedolo, ngikholelwa ukuphelelwa ngokwesikhombisa inhliziyo ayidli ishiyelwe kodwa bandla saguquka saba yizwe elome geqa kwayeka ukuba yizwe lethu kwaba yizwe labo.
Reach where you want.
Now I'm Kenya the whole year.
So nakoqala nele packet fela snack le cooler box. Then
I studied there and I get tell too much better. Like just go on. I started
sure.
Now I'm a guy get perfect into it. That's the right guy in the right place at the right time.
Sure.
See the guy, I'm not a big fan. Just like a fail or one or two. It's because of me. Then again, see I just did. G, nice standing. This is a mistake of mine. They call me G. Sure. You understand? Yeah. But the real name is Godfrey.
Godfrey.
Yeah. Sorry, Baba.
A sail of sky, sheltered below stigma's tent is a fair of folk.
Syria, come back to. I don't know if you come on Syria. I better get it, Kaka. But you don't know.
He waits through the day to greet its labor. Confidence declines in token dreams.
whatever phone interview ke ke se ntse tse baya ploma le wena fela so fona go go fela nje tsa shoba tsongaya vele ke le la mo ile no le jona ndona ka ntse tuning ka ntse tuna ka ntse batla and nje ke tsavang nna e ke le through everything ntse ke tuna gore motho nang le mindset o batla something mara ska e batla fela dutse e batle aya o yona why tshona ma bona so ke feel gore wena ntwe engwe le engwe e batla motho e tshona ma bona.
And so he takes what he needs and shares what he can. However, silence negotiates a bargain.
I've got lots of customers. To know a business, the customers are going to customers
He's acquainted with all the seasons. He sits a fall beneath the resilient storm, dresses in thick skin.
This is my sister, this is my aunt, this is my mother, this is if they came here, they have to buy.
Sure.
You understand? You have to be straight from the start.
In front of them, mounted on the loose bricks, lays a table of packaged dreams. Its surface, a cloth of fading seams, its offering, a trade of delightful aims. Joys are sold at a discounted cost. At the market of making a living, hours are traded at a merchant's loss. A squared length of wood, 4 persistent pillars, squared length of wood, and a tie of rope. 4 persistent squared length of wood, and a tie of rope. 4 persistent pillars, and a tie of rope.
Igama lami nguLuleka Mhlanzi, ngi-poet, actress and a youth facilitator ohlala khona la eMaritzburg. I'm a part of iFestivali eyenziwa Center for Creative Arts ebizwa Artfluence, and my job today is to interview uSisi Sibongile Ntombela, who is an informal trader, on her experience with umsebenzi wakhe, and also write a poem about that and recite the poem on spot. Sibongile explains resilience with her eyes. Open, a mirror of the struggle. Her face sees every day. She has to wake up during the sting of winter mornings with her own bun in the oven of her round body. She still has to need a door to satisfy a need in the tummy of an unsafe society, ungrateful and picky most of the times. She's seen a police van raid her selling cottage without a warrant even. She just cannot ask why, because the man in the uniform assumes she might be ignorant to her own right. So she watches them, turning her stock upside down. They say people hide drugs in these cottages to explain their entitlement. Resilient she is as she stands. She feeds her purpose by being here, with all the good kingdoms that govern her, to her parents that are the chefs she takes after.
Congratulations. Congrats. This is beautiful work. I commend you. And so do many of the people who are watching. We've got such stunning comments from Facebook. Alison Claire says, "Eish, we don't trust the government." Sad but true. Shibombi, just like praise hands, and Jabulo, praise hands and hearts. Anthony Mulosi, hearts and hearts. Shibombi, we are trying to survive, heart emoji. Alison Claire, this is beautiful work. Shibombi, I love his character. I think he was talking about Godfrey, Johnathan's character. Quaz says, Chrsitie, this is brilliant. So many stories. The young girl was really inspiring. I see you're rocking her t-shirt. Well done, poets. Well done. Did you know that you had it in you to be able to do something like this? I mean, it's like, this is like multiple functions. Like you're interviewing and you're doing research. You're experiencing the life of this person through your art. You're documenting this, and then you're taking all of that and turning it into an artistic experience. Let's talk a bit about the creativity of it, right? How did this stretch you artistically? When you were compiling what you were doing, what elements were you thinking about? Where did you place your intention, your artistic intention?
Can I go first?
Of course you can. I loved your line, to satisfy a need in the tummy of an unsafe society.
Thank you. Thank you, Sis Lebo. I think the biggest challenge for me was to gather the story and write at the same time. I think one of the things that I've realized about myself is that sometimes it works as a weakness, is that I'm very empathetic, So as much as it still works when I have to capture the feeling and then write the story, but sometimes it's not so easy to bounce out of the emotion when you actually wanna. Yes. So I think the biggest challenge for me was to gather the story and write the poem same time. What I've had before about writing poems in an instant was a short workshop that takes about 45 minutes, where you follow questions like, who are you, where you come from, especially on days where you feel like you can't write anything at all. You follow like a prompt or like a guide, and then you write something. So with that, it's easy because you can really just look into whatever sphere it is that affects your thought patterns the most. So with this specifically, you have to gather a real story now, and this is a human being's true life story now. So you have to capture the whole story, and then you have to create a poem in an instant. And in most cases, when I write my poems, another process that I usually use is one on free writing, where it's either I do a diary entry and then you come back to the poem later on to try and edit and whatnot. So I was also quite anxious with the timing that actually it needs to be a full poem now, Yes, so I think that was the best challenge. So I feel very proud that I've been able to stretch so far, and this is literally the second time I've had to film something, and I'm also learning, even watching the films of the other poets, that I didn't put on credits, and I was thinking, at least I did introduce myself in the beginning. So I'm learning. Thank you, and I'm actually also proud that I've been able to actually pull it out. Although it was a very short video, it's the agreement I had with my videographer, but yeah.
I'm so happy. I'm so happy that you feel proud of yourself. You should feel proud of yourself. Beverly says that fed cook will never look the same to me ever again.
It also tastes nice. It also tastes very nice.
Congratulations. Congrats. Johnathan, Quaz is saying, Johnathan Lefenya, I really love your writing. That was great. Godfrey's such an inspirational character, such an inspirational being. I mean, the one line, where you said what you learned was that you don't just sit and dream what you want, like you go after it, and the fact that he sees himself as a part of this community. He's not just somebody who is, selling and running a business. He knows his people, his people know him. He contributes to their lives. They contribute to his life. I loved what you said, the market of making, what did I say? At the market of making a living, hours are traded at a merchant's loss. That was so beautiful. It was absolutely beautiful. How did you go about, like, in your artistic eye, how did you put this story together?
I think for me, what helped me a lot was getting to the market and getting to know Godfrey. Because at some point, it felt like he was interviewing me. Because he could see when I got there, I was a bit nervous about how the entire thing is going to go. So he started asking me questions from the beginning. Okay, what do you do? What type of person are you? What kind of things do you like?
I think we've lost Johnathan for a little bit, but he'll come back. He'll join us. Let me come over to you then, Chrsitie, so long. My black tax is taxed. Gee, what a line. What a line. And every time it came back, like the perspective shifted. My black tax is taxed. Like the young woman selling she's an informal trader, but there's a money demand on her still. And there's the tax of being a foreigner. There's the tax of being unsafe. There's the tax of you being unsafe. Like, where is blackness safe in South Africa? Which blackness is safe? For you, what does that mean? My black tax is taxed.
I think definitely, yes, Lebo, it really, I mean, even us as what we consider middle-class Blacks, there's always a barrier. There's always a barrier because of blackness. There is a barrier. I'm not quite enough of a middle-class Black in the burbs.